Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to another video, and thank you for taking the time to watch my video. And for the copycat and the Schultz Virgo man, thank you for being the first two to always watch my videos. Thank you for always keeping track of everything that I am about to do or say. I understand that you people have fears about the things that I will reveal because everything that I reveal or speak about, it's indeed rather truthful. Um, I want to speak to you guys today about a series of attempts that took place against my life since I was born by the same people that were supposed to be my family, and I call them the karmatic people that I was raised in, or karmic family that I came from, um, because I feel that people need to hear how far the devil and his workers can go to try to destroy somebody who belongs to the light and belongs to God. Somebody that they know for a fact is a earth angel or someone who is of the light or a light worker, which is how we call it. And I suppose these people knew about this situation even before I was born, because the people that I came from were people who practiced the occult, and even though they were people who belonged to a Christian church, they also practiced the witchcraft and the dark black magic in the background. So basically, in one side of the church, which is the entrance, they have benches and God image all over the front so that people can sell their faith to them and they make money out of it. So basically using God to make money when in reality they despise God. Make that make sense. Um, so basically what I want to show you guys is that no matter how many times the devil, defeats you or beats you, whether that is psychologically, spiritually, or emotionally, or physically, it doesn't matter which way, the devil will always attempt to break your spirits just because he knows that you are a person that belongs to God. So the devil is always going to be irritated by your light, no matter what you do or who you are, no matter how good of a person you think you are, or no matter how many bad deeds you do or how evil you do. Just remember that the devil is an illusion. And even if you work for him, even if you do things for him, in the end, he will turn around and stab you, because that is what the devil does. He's a betrayer. He betrays faith and loyalty. He does not like that. And he likes people living in fear, people living with the concept that in order for them to have everything that they want, they must worship the devil so that the devil can repay them, whether that is with fame, fortune, or power, or whatever it is that they request from him when they make the deal. But this is what these people do. Now, I have spoken about this theme or this subject before, and the reason I'm going to bring it up again is because, believe it or not, this is the third time I am trying to record this video, and every time I try to record the video, it seems like there's always something that gets in the way from me either finish recording it or uploading it all together. So we're gonna give it another try, because giving up and quitting is not in our agenda. We don't know that word in our dictionary, so I'm gonna continue to try. Now, when I was born, the people that I was given to for them to raise me, They didn't register me as a child who is a child of so and so, or the father of this child is so and so. That didn't happen to me right away. In my birth certificate, it shows that I was registered as my alleged father's kid at age 2. And when I was 2 years old, they finally legally registered me as his kid, even though I was not really his kid. Um, and so the information that was given to the municipal court about my birth details were wrong. The age is wrong. The birthday is wrong. The name is wrong. And even the name was also misspelled. It wasn't even spelled correctly. So those were just tiny little clues that I was getting at an early age, and just kind of observing them and why they were so different or so apart from the others when they were treated differently. Um, Growing up with the family that I was raised in, and I'm going to speak on two different families, which is my paternal family and then my maternal family. So, because in the family, everyone knew that I was not a biological child that belonged to the family, everyone always treated me as if though I was an outsider. I was somebody that needed to be treated in a bad way so that they can continue to humble me, to continue to try to break me since I was 2 years old. This is when the abuse started. Um, so basically, I was a victim of reactive and systematic abuse due to the fact that the family that I was raised in, I don't know if you guys have been following the story, but the family that I was raised with, they were part of the Masons or the Illuminati, however they want to call themselves. I don't know exactly what it is that they call themselves, but they were part of this demonic group that has always been in the background, taking people out for money, life insurance money, for fraud, and so on and so forth. But they have always been in this devil mode where they always do bad things to good people that don't deserve bad things to happen to them. I happen to be one of their victims, and this is what happened. Since the age of 3, I started to be physically, mentally, psychologically, and sexually and spiritually abused by these people that raised me, starting with my stepmother, my father, and uncles who always treated me in a way that said, you don't deserve respect and we don't need to treat you with respect or anything like that. So basically, I was treated kind of like the slave of the house. So um, my grandmother and my father made a deal. My father and his wife, my stepmother, she didn't want me to be around her or her kids, or even around my father for that matter, because she always told me that she hated the fact that I reminded her of who I was and who she was. So basically, I guess she was saying that she hated herself. I don't know. But she always threw that in my face. She always rubbed it on my face and always went out of her way to show me how much she hated me. My stepmother was a person that was very aggressive, physically violent towards me, always slapping me on the face, scratching my body as a way to mark me with some kind of mark that will always remind me of what she did, or a mark that will turn me into the evil, dark person that they want me to be. And this is their problem. They've done everything they can to turn me into one of them and be as dark and as evil as they are. Fortunately for me, I don't function or operate that way. So, the abuse, it started at home. As growing up, and when I started to become a little bit more of a um, still a child, but not a teenager yet. But like, let's say on my 5th or 6th or 7 years of age, I was being treated like I was the slave of the house. where I came from in El Salvador, they didn't have water in the apartments or in the houses back then. Um, the bathrooms were outside of the house, they were not even in the house. And things were just kind of the old fashioned back then, keep in mind that I was born, allegedly to what the documents say, I was born in 1974. That is according to the details these people gave to the municipal court, and that is apparently who they say I am. Um, so basically, growing up, it was me, my little aunt, my little uncle, and other teenager uncles in the house that, were a little bit older than me. I happened to be the youngest in the family. And I remember that at 6 years old, um, because like I told you, there was no water in the house. However, there was some kind of a well where people would get water from. And so a lot of people would carry this plastic container that's super heavy, that's like 2 or 3 gallons, super heavy. Imagine carrying that kind of weight when you're only 6 years old. That's what they were doing. So basically, every day I would have to go and, carry the water from the well to the house, which was like almost 2 miles away from the house. So I would walk back and forth, carrying the water, while my other uncles and my aunts, who were only like maybe 10 or 12, like 3, 4 years older than me, they they were never treated that way. They were never asked to go do what I was doing, because in the house they were the how do you say that, the preferential treatment kids, or the favoritism kids. And so basically they would treat them like they were golden childs, or like golden children. They couldn't mistreat them, they couldn't talk bad on them, they couldn't talk down to them, they couldn't disrespect them. And so they treated them with respect and things like that, while for me it was the other way around. It was extreme disrespect, extreme abuse. And while I was, doing the physical labor to carry the water from the well to the house, I didn't have the right to eat breakfast, because I would get up early in the morning to do this. Otherwise, I didn't have anything to eat. So basically, they assigned chores like the water, the floors, mopping the floors, and so on and so forth. And until you're not done with these tasks, you cannot eat. So basically, I'd have to work 10 times harder for my own food, 10 times harder to nourish myself, when it was my parents' job to nourish me and to raise me healthy. They didn't really care about that. So sometimes I would complain about, the tiredness, because I would get so tired and things like that. And I would tell them, like, I'm really tired and I'm hungry, I need to eat before I keep going, and blah blah blah. And they would say things like, you're the slave in this house, you don't have any privileges in this house, you do not have any favoritism in this house, you will work hard for your food, and if you don't work hard and if you don't get your task or your chores done, then you don't eat. Simple as that. So basically, I had to make sure that I got done with all my chores in order for me to eat breakfast, for that matter. So by the time I got to eat on breakfast, they would not only throw on my face the kind of food that I ate, but also how much I ate. They're working a 6-year-old child to death physically, making this child work 10 times harder than the others in the house. They still didn't care how I was being mistreated, as long as things got done in the house. And anyway, so the deal that my grandmother and my father made was, we're going to make her uh, be with her father for 6 months, and then the next 6 months she'll come and stay with her grandmother in another state or in another city in El Salvador. So basically, 6 months I would live with my grandmother, and then 6 months I would live with my father. And so they kept me in that pattern growing up. And the intention behind that was that they they wanted to build a mindset of instability on me as a child, to almost programming me to be a person who was unstable, almost like setting me up to be a person of failure, a person who doesn't know how to be stable. And that's where the saying that they keep using against me on people keeps coming from. They keep telling people she's mentally unstable, she's not stable at all, she's not able to handle her finances, she's not even able to hold a job. All those things, all those lies, but they were all orchestrated. It wasn't really like that. It was more like the way they made it look, you know? Um, so basically, during the 6 months that I was with my grandmother, I would get treated just like a slave and practically do the chores of the house for everyone in that house. We had a big house, and the floors were not vinyl, they were actual real tiles, like real tiles. So basically, I would have to sweep and mop those floors every day, and do the water, sometimes even do the laundry. But other than that, they wouldn't feed me. They felt like I didn't deserve to have a meal because I didn't work hard. While the others in the house would sleep in all the way till 10, 9, 11 in the morning, I would have to be woken up at 4 in the morning so that I can get up and do these things for the house. Um, my father was worse than my grandmother. Um, my father, he went out of his way to mistreat me and disrespect me in a way that says, I hate you. I cannot stand you. I don't like the fact that you're even in my house. I don't like the fact that I even have to feed you. I don't like the fact that I even have to be around you. But whatever it is, he had to pretty much learn how to deal with it because he had no choice. So when I would go and stay the 6 months with my father, he would do the same thing that my grandmother was doing, only 10 times worse. With him, it was all about, looks, ego, arrogance, um, and wanting to have a public image that was demanding respect from people, but he wouldn't earn it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's who he was. So basically, every day that I would, get up, sometimes, I was only like 8, 9, 7 years old at the time that I was going through this. And I never got to eat or sleep the right way a child should be eating or sleeping. A child needs a lot of rest in order for that child to regenerate and reproduce new cells in their mind or in their brain, and the body is still developing physically. And they just didn't care about that. But my father was the same way, worst. Every day he would make me get up at the same thing, 4 in the morning. And he'll say things like, I want you to wash my truck, wash my car. And then after that, I want you to clean the inside of my truck. I need you to make sure that my car is clean and shiny. Make sure that the tires are clean and shiny as well. After you're done with the car, I need you to come into the house and I need you to shine my shoes before I go to work. And at this point, I'm still wondering, hello, you're my father. Why are you treating me like I am a slave? Um, he didn't like the fact that I asked questions like that, and he found that to be arrogant. He always told me that I was a troublemaker for even bothering to ask those questions. The narcissistic abuse and the spiritual abuse were severe, to the point that any child or any other kid that would have gone through this, that kid would have not made it. that kid would have been broken and damaged permanently. Um, one day, he used the water hose to get me off my bed at 4 in the morning. And it was almost like 4:30, I think it was, getting almost close to 5 a.m. And he got really mad, brought the hose, and started watering me down on my own bed, treating me like I am some kind of a dog with fleas, get off the bed or whatever. He'll just water hose me and get me off the bed and start, yelling at me, asking me why do I feel that I should be sleeping in? Who do you think you are to be in bed at this time when you know you should be up? All those kind of things. And so basically, I would get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and I would start doing his car, his truck, his shoes. And then after I finished the shoes, he wanted me to clean that bathroom in the house every day. He wanted me to keep that bathroom smelling good and keep it net clean. Almost like I am some kind of a maintenance or janitorial kind of family member. Just think of it that way. Um, and sometimes, if I didn't get it done the right way, he'll make me go back and do it again. Until I don't get it right, he wouldn't feed me. I went many times without eating breakfast at the right time because if I didn't get my things done on time, I wouldn't eat. So sometimes I would eat until like maybe 9 or 10 in the morning when everyone else was already gone and had already, had breakfast, and everyone went to school looking good and, with food in their stomach and pretty much like normal children, while I had to work 100 times harder just to get a piece of meal, just to get a piece of bread, just to get a piece of cake, or just to get a piece of fruit. I couldn't get anything like that. I couldn't get anything like that without having to be humiliated before. And my father always said that, you don't have any privileges in this family. You're going to get up and do what we have told you to do. Otherwise, you're not going to have breakfast, or you're not going to have money for food or lunch for school. Okay? So that was pretty much the way that he controlled my life. And him and my stepmother and him, they both had a thing for me. As I said before, when you're only 7 years old, you don't really know why people treat you that way, because you're just a child, you're barely learning. And my stepmother and my father both made plans to physically hurt me and physically harm me in some way. They didn't want to see me be happy. They didn't want to see me be alive. They didn't want to see me have friends. They didn't want me to be in the same school as his kids were. Even my stepmother hated the fact that I would even stand a chance of going to the same college as her kids. While her kids were in a private college, they took me out of the private college to take me into a public school only because they both said that I didn't deserve to have privileges and be in a private college because it was too sophisticated for somebody who was a slave, a peasant. A peasant didn't deserve to have that kind of privilege. So they took me out of the private college and put me into a public school where I started to get harassed, bashed, beat up, humiliated, talked down, disrespected, gaslighted, breadcrumbed, even by my own teachers, even by my own people that I called friends at school. I had absolutely nothing and no one to stand by my side. Everyone around me were either manipulated or bribed or paid to do things to me so that they can continue to keep me broken, to keep me hopeless, to keep me unable to move forward and confused about what I should do next, or so on and so forth. They just wanted me to have these many chaos in order for me not to be a good kid. So my stepmother and my father started orchestrating attacks against my life. The first attempt came as a car accident. I was only 9 years old when this happened, and my stepmother and my father, they orchestrated a car accident in a big highway where we used to live. And believe it or not, I was only 9 or 10, and my father wanted me to work already. He wanted me to go out there and get a job at 9, instead of saying, I need you to focus in school. I need you to focus in your studies. No, he wanted me to get a job so that I have no time to be educated or led to the right path. So one day I was headed to work, and he got me a job, believe it or not, at 9 years old, at a printing shop, when where they print calendars and books and billboards and so on and so forth. He got me a job with one of his friends who owned a print shop, and I started working there with there were four there were four other kids. There were grown-ups, not grown-ups, but like maybe 21, maybe 18, maybe 22. Those were the age ranges that they were, while I was only 9 or 10. And so I started working with them, and I would come in and do my thing every day and do whatever they asked me to do. And one day, these four kids, they were very hateful towards me, because if the boss asked me to do something, I would do it the right way. And so the boss was always happy and pleased with my work, while they hated it because they wanted me to be a sloppy and a slob. And so because they didn't like the fact that people or the boss praised my work for being, authentic about my work and passionate about what I did, they started physically attacking me. One day, the four of them, they ganged up on me, and it was on a lunch hour. Um, and two of them grabbed me from my legs. The other two grabbed me from the arms, and the four of them lifted me all the way towards like they lifted me up. And when they had me up in the air, they switched the positions, and all four of them grabbed me from my feet. And there was a barrel of water that was sitting there. It was contaminated too, because it was part of the printing stuff that we used to rinse off in that barrel. Um, and they grabbed me from my feet, all four of them, and they started to like soaking me into the barrel of water, like almost trying to drown me, almost like trying to kill me inside the water. And they kept on pushing me up and down the water, and every time I would come out of the barrel or out of the water, I would be completely blue and just taking my last breath, like like I'm trying to breathe and catch my breath so I can go back down, because I know that we're going to push me back down to the water. So they did. And it got to the point where I felt like I couldn't breathe no more, like I'm gonna die here. And I started to cry, I started to scream very loud. And it was until I started screaming and crying out loud and asking them to leave me alone, please stop, and they wouldn't listen, until they heard me cry and scream. They released me and threw me onto the floor, and all four of them started kicking me on my stomach and my back and my legs, and beating me up in the head with their feet and stuff like that. And I would get bruises and scratches and bleeding nose, and like my eyes were bruised and stuff like that. When I went back to the house that day and I told my father and my stepmother what they had done to me, all the two of them, they just laughed at me. They cracked up really loud and very hard. And my father, he didn't react to it other than just laugh his butt off. And while laughing at me, the two of them, they said, you're such a wimp. You need to learn how to be strong. This is why we don't like you, because we think you're weak. And as a child, I didn't realize that what they were saying is that they were the ones who did this to me. I didn't realize that what they were trying to say is, we did this to you because we hate you. I didn't realize. The only thing I focused on was the fact that here are two people. One is my father and the other one is my stepmother. These two people are supposed to be looking out for me. Instead, they are busy paying people to do things to me so that they can keep my spirit broken and unable to move forward or even unable to have a clear mind. They, this was on a lunch hour, like I said, when this happened at the print shop. And then about a week later, I was headed back to work and I was crossing the highway and there was this car that came out of the blue. I had the green light, so I'm walking, perfectly okay while I know I got the green light and I can get to the other side without a problem. But suddenly there was this car that came out of the nowhere and it hit my right side of my hip. When the impact of the car hitting my body happened, my body was lifted up into the air like an impact, right? Like a regular car crash. And I was lifted up into the air, like flipping back and forth because that's how hard it hit me. And as I was getting ready to land, something happened on the way down to the ground. It's almost like it almost felt like someone caught me, and instead of landing on my head, I was flipped to the other side where I landed on my butt. And as I landed on my butt, I ended up hurting I think it's called the cervix bone, or that thing on the back of the spine, or around the butt or the buttocks. That's where the little bone is, and I ended up landing on that thing. So I ended up with some kind of a degenerative disc as a consequence. So I do have some like backaches every once in a while, which hurt very much. Anyway, so when the car accident took place and I was hit by the car, I landed in the middle of the street while there was incoming traffic and almost being hit by other cars that were coming in and out. Like some were coming in a different direction, the other ones were going in a different direction. And I'm just looking around like, I don't want to get hit, I don't want to get killed. And I'm just screaming and I'm crying in the middle of the road. No one helped me. And there was this older lady that had she had like a regular tiny place in the downtown area, because this is where the car accident took place, in the downtown area of San Salvador, where my father used to live. And this lady came to me and asked me if I was okay. And she's like, "Are you okay?" I said, I think so. And she's like, "You're so lucky that you didn't die, because it could have hit you harder. You could have died." And then she's like, "Who are you? How old are you? Where's your parents?" And I told her, "I'm going to work." She's like, "What do you mean you're going to work? You're only 9. You should be in school. Why are you not in school?" I said, "Because my father wants me to work. He doesn't want me to go to school." So the lady got mad and took me off the street and took me to her little spot, the shop that she had there, the shop. And she gave me food, and she gave me like $20 so that I can have money for school. For work. And she gave me a hug and said, "I feel so bad for you, child. You don't deserve this." And I said to her, "Thank you. I'm only 9 years old, so I'm still trying to figure out why people are treating me that way." So anyways, I went back home that day. And after I got home, I told my father and my stepmother that I had got hit by a car. My stepmother said, "Why are you not dead? Are you a cat? Do you have more than 9 lives, or what is it with you?" My father, on the other hand, he looked at it as a joke. They didn't even bother to say, "Let's take her to school, to the doctor, make sure that she has no broken bones, make sure that she has no physical damage from this car crash that she just went through, and we need to make sure that she's well." They didn't bother to do any of that. They laughed at it and they mocked my pain, and they mocked the fact that I was crying in front of them. My father said that This is something I hate about you. I hate how weak you are. You shouldn't be crying. You should be strong. We didn't teach you that. We didn't raise you like that. And all I would say to him is that that's the problem. You haven't really raised me. No one has raised me. All you people have done is abuse me. And he didn't like the fact that I spoke up for myself and I stood up to him and I said that to him. He slapped me on the face across the room and threw me across the room and screamed on my face that he hated me with a passion and that he didn't want to have me around because he hated me with guts. My stepmother, on the other hand, for her, it was about how dare you that you are even stealing your father's attention or your father's time by nagging to him with stupid little things like this. And she would get mad that I would actually even talk to my father about this. But don't let this be one of her kids, because she will bring the 911 people to the house and take them to the hospital. But when it came to me, neither one of them cared if I lived or if I was broken physically or damaged physically. They didn't care. They laughed and they continued to make fun of me, while my siblings were coerced into having a rivalry issue against me and competing with me. I was always very miserable because they were always trying to discredit what I did right, and the things that I deserved praising for, they made sure that it was discredited, only because they were trained to never let me win, to never let me have anything, nothing. The hate that this family had for me, the hate these people felt for me, it was immense, undescribable. No one could explain why these people hated me so much, because no one around the family knew, even the community. Even though the community always asked both my maternal family and my paternal family, where is her mother? Why do you people treat her like she's a guest when she's a family member? Why does she wear the clothes that she wears when your other siblings are wearing nice clothes and nice shoes? Everyone began to question the situation. And because my father and my stepmother were good at gaslighting people, they would sell them stories about me that weren't true, only for people to be okay with what they were doing to me, only for people to validate the mistreatment that they were giving me. And that wasn't it. More attempts came through on my father's side and my stepmother's side. Every time that we went to the beach, I was always afraid, even though the beach is probably a sanctuary for every child on earth. For me, it was like taking me to hell in chains, screaming at the top of my lungs for help, and no one would even hear. They knew what my fear was about going to the beach with them. And every time we did go to the beach, they would do it intentionally to traumatize me even more. My stepmother would always attempt to drown me in the water, in the ocean. She would drag me with her all the way towards the deepest part of the ocean and try to release me so that I can be drowned. And if the water wouldn't drown me, then she would physically put her hands above my head and start pushing me down the water and scream at me, "Just effing die, you disgusting bastard. Just die already. I need you gone." These were the words that came out of my stepmother's mouth while I was begging God for help and mercy, because I felt I was going to die. But God had other plans for me, and He didn't let it happen. My stepmother would get aggravated and more hostile towards me about the fact that she was unsuccessful in trying to take my life in the ocean. And her frustration for that, she took it out on me. Whenever I would tell my father about my stepmother's abuse towards me, he would slap me on the face and scream at me that I was weak. But he didn't care about the fact that I was being mistreated, abused, and sexually molested by his own family at age 7, all the way to age 12. I was sexually trafficked since the age of 2 by this family. My father would get big payouts from people that would fly from overseas to come to the church and have them molest me in the church, sexually touching me, sexually molesting a certain places or parts of my body. I remember that at age 5, I had men kissing my lips like I was a grown woman. And I was severely sexually abused, trafficked by my own father and my stepmother. Because while I was busy being raped and molested by these random stranger people, my father would get big payouts and use it to get houses, cars, new truck, new shoes, all of them. And while I was kept under a very deplorable way, I was kept in a deplorable situation. I was kept in a situation where I was always sick, being mistreated, beat up, slapped on, spit on, disrespected by. And they liked it. Whenever I would make new friends at school, they would go out of their way to take me away from these people so that I wouldn't have any friends. Since I was a child, my family went out of their way to make sure that I never had any support, not from friends, not from family, not from anyone. Every time I would take extra time from school and go to a classmate's home to do homework with them, instead of asking me, where were you and what were you doing? Instead of asking me those questions, the moment I arrived home, I would get beat up. And sometimes I wouldn't even be fed for dinner. I would just go to bed with empty stomach and get up with empty stomach at 4 a.m. and do what they wanted me to do without food in my stomach. And whenever I got sick, which was all the time, they would get mad because their slave wasn't active, because their slave was sick, because the slave didn't get the chores done. So now I have to hear it from all of them, my father, my stepmother, my siblings. No one had any kind of regard for my life. No one had any kind of pity for me. They all treated me like I was a person who deserved to be treated in such a way that needed no respect and no peace. They treated me like a person who deserved to be mistreated and disrespected because of being who I was. My stepmother and my father both yelled at my face that they hated the fact that it was me, the one who had what I had, which were my spiritual gifts. My father hated the fact that the estates that were left to me in that will, where he changed the signature and he forged my signature. He was upset that it wasn't his kids. He was upset that it was me. So they went out of their way to treat me like I was the slave of the house when I was indeed the one who was the owner of the homes. I was the owner of all the money that they were spending, because my biological family left an estate and a will and a life insurance, as well as military funds that were never given to me. They were stolen and taken from me since an early age. And they gave me a story that didn't make any sense. As I grew up and I started questioning things a little bit more, they became more irritated with me because they knew that I was starting to see the truth. They didn't want me to see who I was. They didn't want me to see what I could really do. They oppressed my spiritual gifts since I was a child. They did memory spells to delete and erase everything that had been given to me spiritually, while they took it and they used it and they trafficked me, treated me like a small baby prostitute. This is where the saying comes from that they keep telling people she's a prostitute. No. Let's correct this, okay? She's not a prostitute. You turned that woman into a prostitute when she was only 5 years old by letting other people give you money to sexually touch me, by letting random strangers pay you so that they can have sex with me at 5 years old. And the only reason my father and my family go out of their way to oppress me behind the scenes along with this group of pathetic Masons or lunatic Illuminati, whatever they are, the only reason that they did this is because they didn't want me to ever have what was mine. They didn't want me to have anything, not a career, not a home, not friends, not boyfriend, nothing, no money. And let me tell you something. For 20 years, my life was just like any other normal person's life. I can get a job anytime and get to work anytime. I can achieve anything I wanted to achieve without any interference. But the moment I started posting videos online, which was 20 years later, they resurfaced. And then they went back to trying to oppress me behind the scenes again, so that I wouldn't be able to have money, so that I wouldn't be able to have a job, so that I wouldn't be able to feed myself, so that I wouldn't be able to afford my subscriptions to make videos, so that I wouldn't be able to have any money to get wardrobes or clothes or outfits for my new videos. They went out of their way to oppress me. My father, my stepmother, and the group of Masons that they work with, they came after me only because they hated my independence. Only because they despised the fact that I was a person of abilities of survival with natural skills. When no one had taught me how to be a survivor, I learned on my own. I was taught by God how to survive. I was raised by God because no one stood by my side while growing up or going through the turbulence. They attacked me. They tried to kill me. They tried to break me. They tried to get rid of me because they wanted to make sure that whatever was mine, it would go to them. And that is exactly what they did. I stood to receive my inheritance, financial will, living trust, and estates that my real father left for me at age 18. My father went out of his way to make sure that I was taken out of the El Salvador country at age 16, so that I would never receive legally what was mine. Instead, one of my sisters was trained to be a copycat and a doppelganger. They trained her on how I act, how I speak, how I dress, how I do my hair, how I do my makeup. They trained her and they paid a lot of money to make that sister look exactly like me visually. And by the time that I turned 18, that sister was taken into court by my father and my stepmother and presented her to the court as me. They made my sister pose as an imposter, as a doppelganger in front of a judge, and told them that that was me. They were able to use stolen passports and stolen birth certificate and stolen IDs to claim this money, these assets, these properties, these lands. They fraudulently used the government to sign off on this because the government didn't even want me to exist either. They all had a hate for me. Not because I was born rich and they kept it from me, they hid it, but because they knew I was chosen by God to have greatness, to have fame and power and fortune. And they wanted it all for them. They wanted to take it from me. They destiny swapped me since the age of 18. Or better yet, since the age I was born. They destiny swapped me with a sister that looks exactly like me. And that is how that doppelganger that looks exactly like me has been able to get away posing as me legally in paper and physically, because she has had the support of corrupt government officials and the family that supported the move, the heist, the theft. There were corrupt officials in El Salvador and the United States who collaborated to make this happen. Because both systems, the Salvadorian system and the United States systems, they didn't want me to win. The system was designed for me to fail, not to win. That was the reason why they all opposed at the fact that I was legally entitled to what was mine and they stole it. Like I said, years later, I resurfaced back online and I started posting videos. And the first video I ever posted on Facebook, it was my very first one ever to be uploaded to online platforms. And you know how you get reactions from likes to angry to wow to people like the little emojis that say wow or the emojis that said angry. Well, the first emoji I got in one of my first videos was an angry emoji. A very red face, angry face emoji. Clearly that was the doppelganger or my father or someone in the group or someone in the family, like I said. But one of them reacted to that video, and the moment that they saw that video, they knew that the lies were over. So in order to stop the truth from coming out and to stop people from seeing what they have done to me, they started to oppress me and cyberbully me online so that I wouldn't be seen, so that my truth would never be heard, so that my story will never be told. But most importantly, because they didn't want the world to know who they are and what they did to me. The ongoing oppression that I continue to experience on my YouTube platform is due to the fact that these people don't want me to be seen because of what they've done to me. They don't want to go to prison for the organized crimes that were committed against my spirit, myself, my energy, and my name. Their whole attempt to hide me is to hide what they've done, what they did to me. They don't want the higher ups to see who they truly are behind the scenes. They want to continue to keep an image of perfect, la creme de la creme, elite kind of person. They want the world to continue to see them that way. And by that, it means continue to oppress me so that the truth never comes out. When I upload videos like this that talk about what they've done to me, they hide the video. They don't even let anyone see that it's online. They oppress the video as a way to oppress the truth, because they don't want to be seen as the real people who they are, the monsters that they are. They don't want anyone to see what they have done. They don't want anyone to see that they created a human clone out of my face. Human cloning is federally punished by the law. Cloning a human being is highly illegal, highly punishable by the law in the United States. Committing fraud, forgery, and perjury in a courthouse also has legal consequences. Telling people in the courthouse that the real one or the real person in that will is dead is a federal offense. Telling people or the courthouses that the person in that will has mental instability is forgery, a fraud. Perjury, you lied under oath and told people a story that didn't exist about me. You people told these people that I was dying from AIDS, when the whole time it was the doppelganger who was dying from AIDS. They used the doppelganger to track down all the exes that I ever dated in my life and infected those people with HIV/AIDS. And those people then later turned around and said that I was the one that gave it to them, when I never even had anything to do with them, with some of them in the first place. Take the Virgo Schultz guy, for example. He keeps lying to people, saying to people that I gave him some kind of STD. First off, you need physical contact to catch something. You need sexual contact to catch something. I never got with this man. I never got with this Schultz Virgo man. And I don't even get down like that. Just because this Schultz Virgo gay man has the habit of sleeping around with just about anything that crosses his path, it doesn't mean that I am like him. Just because the copycat doppelganger has the habit or the bad habit of spreading her legs every time she needs something, it doesn't mean that that's me. These are two very different people. Clearly, God knows me, the real me. The universe knows the real me. And they also know who that doppelganger is. The danger that I was placed in, endangering my life all this time by these people, this was supposed to take me out. This was supposed to break me and my spirit. They wanted to see me broken at all cost. They wanted to win at all cost. Well, here's the newsflash. All of you said, win at all cost. Well, it's going to cost you your life. It's going to cost you your livelihood. It's going to cost you your fame. It's going to cost you your fortune, your power. It's going to cost you possibly even your own life. Because you made a deal with the devil to destroy me and kill me, so that doppelganger can step into my light and keep posing to the world as me. She has been lying all these years, telling people that she's a divine being, when in reality that person is a Jezebel. That person is a Queen of Cups in reverse. That person spread her legs for anything that breathes and moves. That is not divine. That is being a succubus, incubus, Jezebel. I don't do those things. If I am still alive and healthy, it's because I'm not like her. If anybody is dying here, that is her. The Schultz Virgo man, he has AIDS. Ask him why. Not an accident, is it? These people in this group of Masons that this doppelganger, Kinsey, and Schultz guy work for, I mentioned to you guys before that this is a group that practices a lot of sex magic. These people, they sleep with each other amongst the group, passing the STDs onto each other. And then when they find a target like me that they want to destroy and kill, they will attempt to send a person like that within their group that they know for a fact has AIDS or some kind of STD that can be easily transferred to the target. They have attempted numerous times to do this to me, and it didn't work. So they continue to attack me behind the scenes because according to their mind, they have to take me down somehow. According to their mentality, I don't deserve to be alive and I don't deserve to be successful. This is the oppression that I have lived under for almost 50 years. My light was supposed to have been seen a long time ago. My light was supposed to have been seen by the world years ago. And just like I said in one of my videos a long time ago, when this group knew that I was in the United States, they said, "The chosen one is in the United States now." And we know that this is a chosen one. We know that this is an earth angel for reals. But we're never going to let her have that. We know that she has a light inside of her. And we are going to make sure that that light shines bright. Just not for her own benefit, but for us. Their plans to steal from me, destroy and kill from me, these plans are not new. These were plans that they had for me since very early age. These people subjected me to spiritual abuse and spiritual satanic rituals since I was a child. These people abused my energy since birth by performing satanic rituals on a child that had no knowledge of what the devil was or what evil was. It was an innocent child. And the same thing they did to me is the same thing that they have done to other celebrities who were famous at an early age. All the children that became famous in Hollywood at an early age were children that were molested by the people behind their growth in Hollywood. Everyone in this group of people that belongs to Hollywood industry are witches and warlocks who practice satanic rituals against children of the light, chosen ones. They don't pick just any children. They'll pick the right ones. The chosen one. They don't bother with it if that's not a chosen kid. That child has to be chosen for reals for them to come at them. For them to come at that kid this hard. And this is the reason they have come at me all these years. Attacking me. One attack after another. One catastrophe after another. One chaotic situation to another. Giving me no time to have space of freedom or peace or joy. Disrupting what God have given me, which is my abundance. Abundance means be happy, be joyful, be peaceful, co-create with God. This is what they didn't want me to do. They didn't even want me to believe in God. To this date, they continue to do things intentionally against my livelihood, to make me believe that God is not listening to my prayers, to make me believe that there is no God. They keep on sabotaging all my opportunities and my success as a way to make me believe that there is no God. They know that I work with God, that they know that I walk with God. So in order for them to destroy my faith in God, they do all this black magic behind the scenes to sabotage me, to go out of their way to not let me have anything, even unemployment. Whenever I go apply for unemployment and say, for example, I got the job, so now I not only got the job, I got the job offer, I got to fill out my direct deposit so I can get paid. And just when I am about to start working, boom, there comes the employer. Hi, can you send us a pay stub of this job that you said that you had? And can you show us a proof of this company that you work for? And the only reason I don't even bother with it or even respond is because I already knew that there has been some scrutiny and some sabotaging behind the scenes by these same people. Because their way of sabotaging my opportunities and my growth and my blessings is to turn my success into despair, to turn my blessings into sorrow. This is their attempt. Every time that they have sabotaged something for me is because they attempt to replace my blessings with sorrow. Destiny swapping me, taking away my blessings and my opportunities and giving them to that ugly blow-up doll clone Kinsey. The hate this homosexual Virgo Schultz guy feels for me, it goes that far or to the extent of trying to destiny swap me so that I cannot have what is rightfully mine. He doesn't want me to have it because he hates me. The Schultz Virgo man, his whole hate about me is because I ghosted him. I dropped him. And I didn't chase him. Apparently, he is used to women chasing him. He has made a living all of his life by getting women to chase him, ghosting women, ghosting people, so that people can then turn around and express their love and admiration for them. Maybe that could have worked for him at some point when he was in his 20s, maybe in his 30s. But now that he's 58, darling, that's being a little delusional. You're no longer that hot rod anymore. Let the young boys with the hot rod be the hot rod that you could never be, and you just simply keep moving on forward and accept the fact that you are now an elder person that's acting like a 5-year-old with an arrested development and some schizophrenic symptoms and state of mind that no one has ever been able to see in you because you have hid it very well. But the mask is no longer on, dear. If you can see very clearly around you, your mask has been stripped. Your blessings have been stripped. Your protection has been stripped. Your spirit guides have been stripped from your energy. You and the doppelganger no longer have any kind of protection whatsoever. The two of you are literally in the devil's pond. And you will be treated 10 times worse than what you treated me, unfairly and illegal. You will receive the same treatment that you gave or showed upon me so that you can have a little dose of your own medicine. And neither one of you will leave this realm until you see with your own eyes that I became successful. Until you get to see with your own eyes and witness my win and my success. Until then, you are not living. You will stay in this realm and pay all the spiritual debt that you have. In this realm, Because by the time you leave this realm, you will be taken straight to the depths of hell, where you will then deal with the devil and pay back what you have done. Just because the whole group and the family is having some kind of financial or health issues, or they are facing severe karma, as I told them, it doesn't mean that you people have to turn around and make my life the same way as yours. I didn't do anything wrong. You people did. If I had done the same thing that you did, then God should have been punishing me a long time ago the same way that He's punishing you all. Now, after all these attempts in trying to hijack my destiny, trying to destiny swap me, turn my blessings into sorrow, I hope that you can see that you have no power. I hope that you can see that even your own God is not listening to you anymore. Is He? Now you will understand that the pact and the deal that you made with the devil was nothing but illusions. And all of you are about to receive a backfire from attempting to destroy an innocent person and kill an innocent person of the light. You people and the group, all of you, listen to me very well. All of you are in for a rude awakening. Prepare yourselves and embrace for impact, because you were warned multiple times to leave me alone, and you didn't listen. You thought that God was a joke. And now God is going to make a joke out of all of you. Teach you all a lesson that you will never ever touch another chosen person again. If any of you has gone through any situation like this, or has been faced with burdens and situations like I have, my only advice for you is don't give up and don't give these people the pleasure to see you fall. Keep fighting, keep praying, stay strong, and believe that God is with you. Believe that God loves you. Anything that you are going through right now, whether that is financially, spiritually, physically, know that God is with you. And if you have gone through the situations that I've gone through, then just know that it was training camp. Look at it as a training. You have been trained by God on how to go through these situations, how to face situations like this, and how to navigate through it. And understand that getting broken or destroyed by a bunch of lunatics on a power trip is not exactly God's plan for you. Stand up, fight, stay prayed up, talk to God, and make these enemies of yours disappear by staying faithful and prayed up and keeping your high vibing energy. Never let the devil take your energy down. The moment your frequency and your vibing energy goes low, like if you are a low vibrational person, you are susceptible of spiritual attacks and demonic attacks. If you live a life of toxicity and you vibe very low, please try to do a change in your energy and try to be more productive, more high vibing, and more positive. The poverty mindset and the pity parties that the devil wants you to play, they're just illusions, but that's not really true. If you are still here, it's because God wants you to be here. The devil wants you to take yourself out of the equation altogether. They want me to do that myself. That ain't gonna happen. And they need to snap out of it and leave me alone altogether. Because there's nothing pretty for them from this point on. Everything for them is downhill from this point on. Everything that they have ditched out against me all these years unfairly is over. They will no longer have access to my energy. And if you are a chosen one, ask God to block these people out of your energy and keep moving forward. Drink your water. Stay positive. Stay creative. Stay strong. And never surrender. Never let the devil win. Always remember that the light always wins in the end. And the darkness is nothing compared to the light. Okay? I love you guys, and I'll be back with another video. If you can share my video, I will appreciate it very much. It helps me grow and it helps my channel grow. I know that a lot of people who watch my videos, they don't share my videos or like my videos because I get that a lot of people don't want to get involved in that kind of negativity or drama. But keep in mind that sharing my video will help those that are in the same position as me, in the same situation as me. And you will not just be helping me, you will be helping others, and you will help liberate others from the bondage of the devil. Okay, I love you guys, and keep in mind that the devil is out for destruction right now around the world, and we are all living under age. We're all feeling like we're at the brink of something bad, but those are just illusions and distractions from the devil to keep you from seeing the light. Okay, stay strong, stay prayed up, talk to your spirit guys, and never stop chasing your dreams. Never give up. Okay, never give these people what they want. Whatever it is they want for you, do it. Only do it the opposite way to get under their skin. Trust me, it works. Okay, the more attacks they send to you, the more powerful you become. The more black magic they do to you, use that power to your advantage and turn the sorrow into power. I love you guys, and so does God. Ciao. I'll be back with another video. Ciao. Bye.